The cold plastic of the specimen desk held a dense mass of deep red muscle tissue. A single transparent layer of polymer sealed the heavy organic block. It did not bleed. It did not move. It simply sat under the stark white glare of the lecture hall, 40 kilograms of vacuum-packed planetary muscle that should not have been inside the perimeter. Professor Zeiler adjusted the primary dial on a central lectern console. Her lower eye lens gave a sharp, involuntary spasm as she focused on the perimeter logs. The data grid showed no breach flags. The security line had not buzzed. The automated air scrubbers inside lecture hall 7G merely hissed, turning over the sterile atmosphere to clear the faint, heavy scent of unrefined iron. Beside the desk stood Daisy. The 32-year-old human female remained perfectly still, her small limbs wrapped in an oversized garment of unrefined gray plant fiber. Her hands were short and flat. Her skin lacked the defensive chitin common to the coalition's vanguard ranks. A faint, unnatural orange dust coated her fingertips, residue from a dried maize snack she had consumed during the transit cycle. She looked remarkably small against the high-gravity alloy tiers. She looked entirely fragile. I wish I could tell you it ended there. It didn't. Stay close. 20 minutes earlier, the amphitheater had been filled with the low, grinding resonance of 350 elite recruits. Heavyset reptilian Vraxians adjusted their leather chest plates in the front row. Behind them, the six-limbed crystalline Krell clicked their mandibles in a rhythmic display of structural superiority. They had earned their placements through cycles of orbital trials. They were the apex elite of the Trellian Higher Military Academy. Xylo cleared her primary throat sac and tapped the holographic projection matrix. A massive, high-contrast display of human dental records filled the air above the lectern. The teeth were flat. The edges were entirely smooth. Observe the complete absence of vertical shearing ridges, Xyler announced, her voice carrying the rigid cadence of a senior lecturer. The mandibular structure is broad and low. The incisors are designed for the superficial maceration of soft cellular flora. No carnassial teeth, no venom channels. No tracking ridges. The Vraxian cadets let out a low, vibrating hiss that the translation software flagged as collective amusement. They possessed teeth like shattered obsidian blades. They understood the galactic hierarchy through the weight of natural weapons. We can therefore conclude with statistical certainty, Xyler continued, her digits tracking across the data pad, that the human inclusion in the tactical infantry track is an administrative error. A species that cannot process raw animal lipids without extensive thermal modification is structurally incapable of maintaining the metabolic output required for live combat. They are, by definition, herbivores. They are gatherers. From the third tier, a soft, fleshy sound broke the lecture. Daisy had raised a single hand. Her fingers lacked claws, and she was slowly chewing a small block of synthetic mint wax. Yes, Cadet Daisy, Xyler asked, her lower lens spamming again in professional annoyance. If your blood sugar is low, the medical bay has glucose gel packs available for low-tier species. Ah, Professor, Daisy said. Her voice was flat, completely devoid of the booming chest resonance common to natural predators. That slide is kind of wrong. The amphitheater went perfectly quiet. The Krell stopped their clicking. 350 distinct alien heads turned toward the human row. The Valari Classification Index has been verified across 400 cycles of empirical observation, Cadet, Xyler said, her mandibles tightening. It is the foundational system of our tactical doctrine. It does not produce errors for low-mass bipeds. I mean, the tooth thing is true, Daisy muttered, leaning her chin on her smooth hands. We don't have long fangs, but I'm definitely not an herbivore. I actually brought my own lunch today because the green paste in the cafeteria tastes like lawn clippings. Xylo tapped her console with a heavy, armored digit. The dietary regulations of this academy are fixed. You are permitted standardized plant-based substitutes. You do not possess the biological hunting apparatus to secure anything else within this sector. Daisy did not shout. She did not demonstrate any signs of aggression. She simply reached beneath her alloy desk and lifted the heavy, insulated container she had carried through the morning line inspection. "I didn't use an apparatus," Daisy said, setting the polymer container down with a heavy metallic thud that caused the front row desks to vibrate. "Well, except for a 3-inch utility blade, but that was just for the cleanup afterward." She unlatched the safety clips of the pod. With a slow, casual movement, she lifted the vacuum-sealed pouch and placed it squarely on the clean metal desk. The deep red marrow markers within the muscle tissue were instantly visible. Xylo stepped back from her lectern, her throat sac expanding rapidly as her primary central lens zoomed on the cellular structure. "That tissue density, that is a mature gorgonhound, from the Southern Briar Reserve." "Yeah," Daisy said. She reached into her fiber pocket and pulled out a small, uncoated polymer cylinder containing a red and white granular powder. The handwritten label on the side read "Smoked Paprika Blend." "Took me about 4 hours last night. They're pretty fast for the first 2 miles, but they don't sweat. Once they overheat, they just kind of sit down and wait for you." "You infiltrated a restricted ecosystem," Xylo's voice cracked, dropping out of its formal academic register. "On foot, the gorgonhound possesses a 3-layered hide and an advanced olfactory tracking system. It can scent an intruder from a kilometer away." "It smelled me the whole time," Daisy agreed, completely deadpan. She tore open the thick polymer seal with her flat front teeth. "That's how I kept it running. Every time it tried to stop and rest in the brush, I'd just walk out of the bushes 20 minutes later. Around midnight, it just gave up. It looked really tired." She unscrewed the top of the minor plastic cylinder. With a practiced, horizontal flick of her wrist, she showered the raw, deep red muscle tissue in the volcanic red powder. The reaction was instantaneous. The volatile oils of the unrefined earth spice hit the lecture hall's automated ventilation intake. It was not a weapon. It was not a tactical aerosol. But to the sensitive, raw olfactory receptors of the elite cadets, it was an absolute chemical assault. The 2 heavy Vraxians in the front row immediately slammed their primary hands over their snout slits. Their thermal eyelids snapped shut in visible agony. Anixon Cadet 3 rose back, let out a wet, strangled cough as the airborne capsaicin particles reached its sensory tendrils. The room's air scrubbers groaned, their filtering elements spinning to maximum output to clear the burning, aromatic spice. "What is that substance?" Xylo gasped, her triocular cluster spinning wildly as her respiratory slits flared against the pungent air. "Are you deploying a localized neurotoxin inside this facility?" "It's just garlic and pepper," Daisy said. She looked genuinely confused by the panic around her. She reached into her gray kit and pulled out a standard-issue emergency thermal plate, a tiny, low-power heating element meant for field survival kits. She dropped the seasoned muscle tissue onto the surface. The meat hit the heated alloy with a sharp, relentless sizzle. The scent of searing fat and hot oil flooded the amphitheater, completely replacing the sterile mineral bite of the iron-filtered lights. The flat-toothed, clawless human sat there unbothered, using a small metal fork she had taken from the officer's mess to flip the browning steak. "You tracked an apex ecosystem predator to metabolic collapse," Xylo whispered, her digits trembling as she attempted to input an incident report into her terminal. "Through 6 kilometers of razor briar, because you did not prefer the institutional salad." "The salad didn't have dressing, Professor," Daisy explained, taking a small, neat bite of the cooked muscle. "You really need lipids to process fat-soluble vitamins anyway. It's just basic biology." Before Xylo could strike the key to summon campus security, her central lectern terminal flashed bright, violent crimson. A systemic network override bypassed the Academy's local security encryption, freezing the standard grading software. A high-priority text bulletin from the Central Bureau of Planetary Classification filled the projection grid, its text overriding the dental scans. The screen flashed, the server died, The database collapsed. The automated document was timestamped exactly 8 hours prior to the start of the lecture. It carried a red strategic reassessment code. The text read, System 442, Sol, Species, Human, Previous Matrix, Class 3, Forage Fauna, New Matrix, Class 12, Persistence Predator. Note, effective immediately, all educational and military institutions are to cease classifying human oral structures as harmless gatherer systems. Do not allow humans access to local wildlife reserves. They do not hunt for survival, they hunt for dietary variety. The red warning text cast a steady, crimson glow across the silent tiers of Lecture Hall 7G. Daisy had finished exactly half of the steak. She carefully folded the edges of the polymer pouch back over the remaining meat, then wiped her orange-stained fingertips on a small paper napkin. Her expression remained flat, her round eyes reflecting the blinking alert on the terminal. "Class is over, right?" Daisy asked, looking up at the digital chronometer on the back wall. "I have tactical infantry drills at 1300 hours, and I want to put the rest of this in my locker before the line forms." The 350 elite cadets did not make a sound. No scales rustled. No mandibles clicked. The two massive Vraxians in the front row slowly slid their desks 2 inches away from the humans' row, their heavy tails tucked tightly beneath their seeding tracks to clear her path. Daisy lifted her thermal container, slid the plastic cylinder of smoked paprika blend into her pocket, and walked down the alloy steps toward the exit. Her soft rubber soles made a faint, dragging sound against the clean floor. Xylo did not hit the security key. She did not adjust the holographic matrix. She simply watched the gray plant fiber hood disappear through the automated pressure door. The central projection board continued to blink in the empty room, its crimson letters painting the sterile lectern in the silent light of a rewritten galaxy.